They called him the umbrella assassin because nobody remembered his face, but everyone remembered the umbrella. It was always there, in the corner of the footage, in half-forgotten eyewitness accounts. A black canopy, polished handle, rubber tip clicking softly on marble floors. In a world of guns and chaos, he chose something so ordinary that people's eyes slid right past it. That was his superpower. He didn't disappear into the shadows. He disappeared in plain sight. That night, the rain fell sideways, carving silver scars across the city lights. The gala at the Glass House Hotel glittered above the storm. Strings, champagne, the rich pretending the world outside didn't exist. Elias watched from across the street, umbrella hooked over his arm, collar raised, heartbeat steady. Target, Viktor Malenkov. Arms dealer, kingmaker, ghost. A doorman squinted as Elias approached. The umbrella made him visible, but harmless. Just another annoyed guest fleeing the rain. The guard barely glanced at the forged invitation, more focused on tracking raindrops than faces. Elias shook the umbrella with a practiced flick, scattering water, masking the tiny metallic click as a hidden mechanism inside armed itself. Inside, the ballroom was all gold and crystal and lies. Elias drifted along the edges, the umbrella vertical, point resting lightly on the floor. People instinctively gave it space. No one wanted to bump into the wet stranger's umbrella. That space was his corridor, his invisible lane straight toward the target. Malenkov laughed near the balcony, surrounded by security that stood out like neon signs. Thick necks, wired earpieces, the familiar stiffness of men wired for violence. Elias didn't look at them. He looked past them, as if searching for someone else, someone important, someone untouchable. The trick of a ghost is never admitting you're the one in the room who matters. A string quartet swelled. Waiters passed with trays of champagne. Elias timed his steps to the music, letting the rhythm dictate his breathing. 3 beats to the left, 2 forward, 1 pause. He brushed the edge of Malenkov's circle, close enough to smell his cologne, distant enough to be beneath the interest. "Careful with that," one bodyguard muttered, eyeing the umbrella. "Of course," Elias said, voice soft, accent neutral. He tilted the canopy slightly, as if apologetic. The rubber tip touched the guard's shoe. No one saw the pinprick of the microneedle slide out, kiss leather, kiss skin, deliver a dose designed not to drop a man, but to slow his world half a second behind reality. Half a second was everything. The guard blinked just once as his reaction time dulled. That was the gap where Elias slipped in. He shifted his grip, the handle of the umbrella rolling in his palm. Inside the shaft, gears clicked. A spring coiled. The tip extended by less than an inch. To the eye, nothing changed. To the trained, it became a weapon so narrow it could pierce flesh, deliver poison, retract, and leave a wound smaller than a raindrop. Malenkov turned, raising his glass. Elias stepped in with the movement of an apologetic stranger crossing a crowded room. "Excuse me," he murmured. His shoulder brushed Malenkov's. The umbrella dipped. The tip pressed against the soft fabric just under the man's ribs. A whisper of pressure, a silent injection. No flinch, no sound. The poison swept into his bloodstream like ink dissolving in water. By the time Elias had whispered another apology and stepped back, Malenkov was already laughing at someone else's joke. The rain had stopped when Elias left the hotel. Sirens would come later, when the heart attack struck on the private elevator, when security footage was combed and recombed by men who didn't understand what they were looking at. They would see him, the man with the umbrella. They would zoom in, enhance, freeze frame. The umbrella's canopy would fill their screens like a void. They would never see the tiny notch where metal met mystery. They would never understand that the deadliest thing in that room was the one object everyone thought they understood. On the empty sidewalk, Elias paused under a flickering street lamp. He pressed his thumb against a hidden latch on the handle. The umbrella shuddered, then relaxed, mechanisms folding back into docility. Just an umbrella again. Just a man again. In the reflection of a darkened shop window, he studied himself without recognition. No villain, no hero, just the space between. Rain began again, light and uncertain. He opened the umbrella and walked into the night. One more anonymous silhouette in a city that never looked up long enough to see the blade hidden in the ordinary.